Thank you. All right, before we get on to the test, we'll talk a little bit about this week's Torah portion, which, as I say every week, the Torah portions of Sefer Breshit are all wonderful stories. And the rabbis, of course, add to that. The end of last week, Jacob is on his way back to the land of Canaan. He has his confrontation with his father-in-law Lavan, and then comes time close for that moment. And he sends messengers to his brother Esav, and sends gifts in order to appease him. And his messengers come back and say, well, I'm not so sure how he feels. He's got 400 armed men with him, a little army coming to greet you. So Jacob is worried. He divides his camp in half. So it says one gets attacked, the other can escape. And then crosses the river. And in that night, he goes back to collect some things that had been left behind. And so while he's there, we're told that he is confronted with and wrestles with a person. It doesn't say it's an angel, although of course that's all the commentaries suggest that it is. Furthermore, the suggestion is different ways. It was Esau's guardian angel. Others say it was Jacob's conscience. You pick whichever one you like. Many different interpretations. But at the end of the struggle, the angel does something to the side of Jacob, injuring his thigh. And the Torah says that's why Bnei Israel do not eat gid hanasheh, the sciatic nerve, which was injured at that time. All right, until today. That when we talked about kashrut, you remember we said that the hind quarter of the animals where that sciatic nerve is, a gid hanasheh, and that's why we don't eat that still to today. And then he goes to greet his brother Esau. And we have to remember, as I pointed out before, the rabbis have it in for Esau. Because in their minds, Esau represents Rome. And when a lot of these midrashim were compiled during the Roman era, that was the major foe that the Jewish people confronted. And the Hadrianic persecutions, and then later on, when Rome becomes Christianized and the Christian church imposes on the Jewish community various issues, they see in Esau the representative of the future. So we have two diametrically opposed visions of the confrontation between Jacob and Esau. They come together and they embrace. Esau seems to be happy about this meeting together, and Esau even cries on their coming together. So one rabbi says, at that time, Esau was sincere. He kissed his brother on the neck. They hugged. That was sincere at that moment. Maybe later on he wasn't such a nice guy, but at that moment in time when they reconciled, it was a true reconciliation. The other rabbi says, not so fast, Charlie. That the reconciliation was not sincere. The tears are not tears of sincere tears. So the rabbi says, what do you mean? You kissed him, and he cries. He says, no, you got it wrong. He went to bite him on the neck. And he went to bite him on the neck, and God made Esau's neck, Jacob's neck, like not ivory. It wouldn't be granite. That's not fancy enough. What's fancier stone than granite? Marble. turn his neck, got to have a fancy stone for it, right? Turn his neck into marble, and as Esau bit down, he broke his teeth and he cried from the broken teeth. Okay, but you see how they struggle. How do you deal with the story? How does that indeed affect the way you see the world? As a sidelight, and when we're going through this whole period of time right now, where you have the struggle in Eretz Yisrael, the land of Israel now. There was an article by Thomas Friedman in the New York Times, and he says he doesn't talk to two kinds of people: the real rabid anti-Israel group who just want to destroy, like Hamas, they're not interested in peace whatsoever. And on the Jewish side, those Jews who want a greater Israel and don't want to have the Arabs around at all. And I'm not going to speak to the Arab side, but the extremist side, there are those Jews who will always see the enemy in the non-Jew. That's a reality because of history. And so rather than Esau, they often use the comparison to Amalek. Amalek is a tribe that attacks Israel when they come out of Egypt, and the Torah says there's a war between God and Amalek for eternity. Israel's supposed to destroy Amalek. So obviously, the Arab world, in their mind, is Amalek. And if they're Amalekites, they're Amalek, there's nothing you can do. It's a war. And whatever you do, you do. Okay? That's an extreme, but that exists. I don't want to ever mislead anyone to thinking that there aren't Jews who are crazy on the other side of the spectrum. Mm-hmm. And we really we have to find a way somehow to get the people who have sense about them and want to find the modus vivendi, whatever it may be. I don't have the answer, but we have to try and find a way. And it can't be, you can't paint with either side with one brush. So that the hatred must be the hatred for only those who act barbarically, not for everybody else. That was my sermon. Okay. Getting back to the Torah portion, but that's what rabbis do. We speak, give drushes. So after the reconciliation or semi-reconciliation, Esau says, "Where are you going?" And Jacob said, let me accompany you. And Jacob, perhaps listening to the second rabbi, says, no, I got children and I got all the animals. They have to go slowly. We'll get together in a future time, and they don't get back together. So that's in the age of the Messiah. When the Messiah comes, Jacob and Esau will reconcile. So we then have a very tragic account of the death of Rachel, giving birth to Binyamin, the last of the sons. And she's buried near Ephrata, which traditionally is just north of Bethlehem, even though the settlement of Ephrat is south of Bethlehem. Don't ask questions. And there's the tomb of Rachel that is to be found there. How old that is, I don't know. But people go there and they treat it like that is the grave of Rachel. And then we have the tragic story of Dinah being raped. They settled down for a little bit near Shechem, and the son of the king sees a nice looking girl coming by, and he takes her and he rapes her. Then he decides he's in love with her and wants his father to make a deal with Jacob that they should be married. And Jacob is kind of taken aback. He doesn't really quite know what to do. And he says, and they say, well, tell you what, if all the men of Shechem will become circumcised, then we can marry together. We can unite our forces, what have you. Did Jacob intend for that to really take place? We cannot know. You have to look into his mind. But on the third day after they're all circumcised, which according to tradition is the most painful day after surgery, the third day after surgery, his sons Shimon and Levi, his second and third sons, kill all the men of Shechem, And then the rest of the family gathers what they can from there. And Jacob curses his 2 sons and keeps it in his mind. And when he comes to the blessing at the end of the lifetime, he talks about Shimon and Levi being barbarous at that moment. And then they make their way going back. And we are told of the death of Isaac and the burial of Isaac to end up the Torah portion. And like I said, we always read about the death when the character is no longer needed, they die. But if you look at the time spans, it doesn't, that leaves out, they overlap, and the story makes it sound like they may die sooner than actually takes place at that point. Okay? So we are then going to move in the next few weeks to the Joseph cycle. We have the creation, Noah, story of Abraham. We have the story of Isaac, which is Isaac's kind of in between Abraham and Yaakov. And then we have Yaakov being the central figure until finally we get to the story where Joseph becomes a major figure until his father reappears as a central towards the end of the book of Genesis. Okay, so I guess everybody's worried about this test tonight, right? Have a fun time with it? Well, part of it I'm sure was quite okay, and part of it was a little more difficult. And well, we'll go over it tonight and see what we can come up with. Okay, so you will, after you go through it to mark your sheets, you'll give me your answer sheet and keep the question sheet if you want to mark the answers of that as well. So you have for review for your own benefit. Okay. And as I point out, if there's more than one correct answer, you're supposed to give me all the correct answers. Right? Who says it can be only one answer to a question? Not if you're Jewish. All right. Number 1, Jews are A, an ethnic group, B, a religious group, both or neither. They are both. I stress that time and time again. We have to understand the religious and ethnic dimension of being Jewish. All right. Number 2, Torah means all of the things that I listed. It's teaching, law, doctrine. So the correct answer is D. Number 3, the answer that I'm looking for is B, a divine commandment. A mitzvah means a commandment. It is colloquially used as a good deed, but the root meaning is commandment. And if you go before the Beit Din and one of the rabbis asks you, what does the word mitzvah mean? You can give them all kinds of other answers and make sure you start off with it's a commandment. They like to hear that, I guarantee you. As a matter of fact, one of the questions you might be asked, is there any mitzvah that you're not prepared to accept upon yourself? And you better not say yes. Because according to the Talmud, if someone who wants to convert rejects any of the mitzvot out of hand, then they cannot enter into the household of Israel. Now, you may have problems, you may have to ask a rabbi how to do it, and you may struggle with it. I struggle with some mitzvot too. All right? But that's the answer. Okay. Number 4, the Jewish calendar is a lunar calendar adjusted to the solar. I tried to word that this way so that it's clear, crystal clear what I mean. Number 5, how many days is Rosh Chodesh? The correct answer is D, 1 or 2. If it's I'm sorry?
What if we put 2?
You get a half correct. Okay, you're halfway there. Remember, when a month is 29 days long, the 30th day, which would have been the 30th day, is the first day of the next month. When a month is 30 days long, the last day, the 30th day, is celebrated as the first day of Rosh Chodesh, and the first day of the next month is celebrated as Rosh Chodesh. And it goes back to the original problem that witnesses went out to observe whether you could see the new moon. And they had to come and testify. There was always an element of doubt as to whether or not the new moon would have been visible that night. Okay. So number 6, which I just answered, is how many days are there in a Jewish month? The answer is D, 29 or 30. Normally they switch over. 29, 30, 29, 30. 7. In a Jewish leap year, how many days are added to the calendar? Correct answer is D, 1 month. After all, if you're going to make it a leap year, might as well really make it a leap. Okay. Number 8, the Jewish day begins at sunset. Although some may quibble and say it actually begins when the stars come out. Number 9, Shabbat candles should be lit no later than C, 18 minutes before sunset. And that's what we do in North America. Number 10, the beginning of the Jewish year is C, Tishrei 1, and D, Rosh Hashanah. 2 answers, 2 correct answers. So if you only got one of them, you get a half credit. Okay? Mix and match. Number 11, Shalom Aleichem is hymn sung to welcome the angels at the beginning of Shabbat, the letter C. Okay. Eshet Chayil is H, the 31st chapter of Proverbs. Praises the Jewish woman. Okay. 13, Kiddush is the blessing, welcoming Shabbat recited over wine, G. 14, Birkat Hamazon is I, grace after meals. 15, Kabbalat Shabbat is the service welcoming Shabbat, that is J. 16, Shaharit is the morning service, K. 17 is a giveaway. Torah reading is what? Reading from the 5 books of Moses. If you didn't get that one right, you're in trouble. Okay. 18, Musaf. That is the additional service. Okay, that's number B. I said additional service said on Shabbat. It's actually said on Shabbat, on the holidays, and on Rosh Chodesh. 19, Mincha. That's D, the afternoon service. 20, Hamotzi is A, blessing for bread. Or you're like a Christological, Christian, not Christological, but a Christian sounding word for it, grace for bread. Grace over bread. And 21, Havdalah, that is the service recited to mark the end of Shabbat, F. Okay. Okie doke. Everybody with me? Number 22. Under what circumstances may we suspend Shabbat rules? B, no, not B. C, to save a life. Pikuach nefesh dochat Shabbat. You're right. All right. 23. A woman may not recite the Kiddush. False. I don't care what anybody tells you, it is false. As a matter of fact, I don't know if the Shulchan Aruch, Code of Jewish Law, discussing an interesting question. Friday night, as part of the Friday night service, we add the paragraph, and the heavens, the earth, and all their hosts were finished. God ceased from his work. Okay? That's the first paragraph that we traditionally recite for the Kiddush at home. So they say, you could say that is the Kiddush. So you got to be careful, gentlemen. So only men went to the synagogue. not to have in mind to be making the kiddush of the day. But what if you forgot? And now you've made it your kiddush. You go home and your wife hasn't said it yet. Can you make kiddush for her? Because you've already fulfilled the obligation. She hasn't. According to the first answer of the Shulchan Aruch, the man cannot. She has to say it. Mm-hmm. Because if you fulfill a mitzvah, there's a big question whether you can fulfill it for somebody else afterwards. We'll go into the details, but I just pointing out that there's a clear halachic statement that would say the woman must say kiddush. And what happens if there's no husband home or no male at home? She has to say it. There's no woman at home. What are you going to do about candle lighting? The man does it. All right? It doesn't matter. Okay? I mean, we can go into quibbles with other people who have problems with those answers, but that's their problem. Come meet me in the alley afterwards. I won't be there, but anyway. Number 24, which we just answered, a man may not bless the Shabbat candles. Obviously, that's false. 25, in conservative synagogues, women may not wear a talit. That's false. A lot of synagogues, even starting here in Toronto, I believe, women wear the talit. Don't do it in most Orthodox synagogues. All right, the server that concludes Shabbat, you've already answered it once, but it's a Havdalah. Keep always forgetting to knock one of those off. 27. On a typical weekday, there are 3 prayer services. On Shabbat, there are 4 services because you have the Musaf. The Musaf is the additional service. So you always, let's start at nightfall, Mariv, the evening service, Shacharit, the morning service, Mincha, a Musaf, the Musaf service, Mincha, the 4th service. And by the time you get to Mariv again, it's the next day. It's no longer Shabbat.
Okay, so
and when we say the Amidah of the Mariv service, we have in it the words of Havdalah. Okay. 27, on a typical weekday, I did that one. 28, 39 categories of labor are forbidden on Shabbat. That's the letter B, 39. 29, 2 loaves of bread, that's A, are on the Shabbat table on Friday night. That's the standard custom. 30, which is forbidden on Shabbat? A, carrying yourself from room to room in your house. B, carrying your prayer book to the synagogue without an Eruv. C, wearing your coat to the synagogue without an Eruv.
A and B.
B. Theoretically, you can schlep your couch all over the house if you really have to. Right? We don't have dirt floors. You're not going to be dragging it. If you drag your couch on a dirt floor, you might put a groove into the floor, and that's like plowing. And really, it's not a good thing to be doing on Shabbat, but it's not forbidden. B. So the correct answer really is B. That's one of my tricky ones. I have to make you think some. I got it.
So half mark if you say
Half mark if you put an extra one besides B, it's a half mark. All right. 31. The weekday Amidah contains 19 blessings. C. Okay. We call it the 18 blessings, but remember a 19th blessing was added on. That was 31. Correct answer is C. 32. The Shabbat Amidah contains B, 7 blessings. 33. The Yom Tov Amidah contains B, 7 blessings. I didn't throw in Rosh Hashanah Musaf, which contains 2 extra ones, giving you 9. Okay. 34. The Shema is said, not including at bedtime, 2 times a day. B. We say it as part of the Shacharit service, and we say it as part of the Musa, Arvi, evening service. And so therefore 35, a Jew should pray the daily service 3 times a day, C.
35.
35 is C. 36, on Rosh Hashanah, we eat bread with honey. Yes, sure. Yes. Did I say C?
B.
I said, okay, no, that's all right. Never apologize for asking a question, unless it's insulting to me. All right. It says in Pirkei Avot, "Eina bashan lomed ve'eina kabdan milamed." A bashful person can't learn, and somebody's overly stringent can't teach. 37. Which of the following is not forbidden on Yom Kippur? The answer is C, singing. "38. If Rosh Hashanah falls on Shabbat, we do not blow the shofar. 39. If Yom Kippur falls on Shabbat, we fast. We do fast if it falls on Shabbat. The prayer book for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur is called D, Machzor. 41. Rosh Hashanah is a day of judgment. 42. Shofar is a taxi driver. No, that's a chauffeur, but a shofar is C, a ram's horn. 42 is C, a ram's horn. Although I must, no, we'll skip it. 43. Teshuvah is A, repentance. 44. Yom Kippur is C, Day of Atonement. 45. Kol Nidre is the first prayer service on Yom Kippur. Actually, not really a prayer service, but I don't know how else to describe it. Okay. Ni'ilah is C, the ending service on Yom Kippur. That's when the ark is, in most synagogues, traditionally left open for the whole service. Sukkot is C, Festival of Booths.
47.
47 is C. Of what? Okay, it's all right. If you remember when I talked about Hanukkah, Chag HaUrim is sometimes referred to as the Festival of Lights, although that's not the biblical name. One explanation for being 8 days was because they couldn't celebrate Sukkot that year. That's why it was 8 days, the 7 days of Sukkot and Shmini Atzeret. So you have a reason for being confused, maybe. Okay. 48. Lulav is B, palm branch. 49. Etrog is D, a type of citrus fruit used on the holiday. 50. Hoshana Rabbah is B, the last day of Sukkot. 51. Shmini Atzeret is B, holiday immediately after Sukkot. 52. Simchat Torah is all of the answers. It's E. It's rejoicing in the Torah. It's the second day of Shmini Atzeret. It's the day we finish reading the Torah, and it's the day we start reading the Torah. All those are part of Simchat Torah's observance. In Israel, where they only observe 1 day of Shmini Atzeret, it all takes place on that day. So if any of you are living in Israel and you said it was the 8th day of it was Shmini Atzeret, you can talk to me about it after class. I will be there. Okay.
Can you get part marks for?
What did you leave out?
I only pick one. I didn't pick all.
Oh,
No.
No, I'm not going to give you, that's like a quarter of a point.
Looks like 20%.
Yeah,
20%
like 20%.
instead of 5, so.
Okay. 53, sucker is the Hebrew for a loser.
I
And
laughed.
8, Hebrew for booth.
53.
53. I'm trying to remember what used to have a question in which one of the possible answers was succotash. And most people have no idea what succotash is, so if we're using
Suffering succotash?
well, that's
It's a mix-
true, but succotash
It's a
is
mixture of
beans
beans
and
and corn.
and lima beans,
Yeah,
and it's a
lima
southern
beans and
dish.
corn,
Yeah.
It's a thing a cat has.
No, that's
No, that's Sylvester. That's Sylvester. Everybody here knows Sylvester the cat? Yes? No,
Bugs
they're too.
Bunny.
Most of you are too young.
yeah, Bugs Bunny.
Bugs Bunny, Warner Brothers. You know, yeah, well, you probably even don't know Mighty Mouse, do you?
Oh,
I do.
I do.
You're all showing your age if you know Mighty Mouse. All right, let's try another one. Sky King.
I think I've heard of it.
It was a Saturday
That was,
morning show where the guy had an airplane on it.
Kind of like Flash Gordon and Buck Rogers.
No, it was a modern. It was a
I've heard of it.
no.
I think I've heard of it.
But I saw both versions on TV of Battlestar Galactica,
Oh, yes, yes.
Too.
and I bought the CDs for the second version. Okay,
Excellent.
DVDs.
Where they got the camera moving on
Yeah.
those.
Okay. All right. So much silliness from Rabbi Berman. Okay, 54. One must eat in the sukkah for 7 days, if all possible. 7 days of Sukkot.
I got that one.
Well, the 8th day is a problem. It's a question because the 8th day is Shmini Atzeret. Is that really the 7th day of Sukkot? Because we say that it started a day later. Is it? So some eat in the sukkah, some don't eat in the sukkah, some make kiddush in the sukkah, some say be sure you don't do it in the sukkah. So the first 7 days, which are clearly Sukkot, through Shana Rabbah, you have to eat in the sukkah. Okay. 55. Which is not one of the 4 species. C, the olive branch. 56. Passage from Deuteronomy expressing the unity of God is D, Shema. 57. 18 benedictions is E, the Shemona Esrei. E. E is an excellent answer, Rabbi.
59.
That was 57, was E.
Oh.
Okay. You on the same number now?
Yeah.
Okay, 58. Passage recited twice daily, this has already been given to you before, is D, Shema. 59. Passage recited 3 times daily is E, the Shemona Esrei. In each of the services, we recite the Shemona Esrei. 60. The book of Genesis opens with the story of D, the story of creation. 61. What are the 2 identifying marks of a land animal that is kosher?
C and E.
C and E. Chews its cud and has a split hoof. 62. What are the 2 identifying marks an animal that lives in water?
A and B.
I hope you understood the question because I don't. No, what are the 2 identifying marks of a kosher animal that lives in water? Should be A and B, fins and scales. 63. We may not eat which of these parts of a kosher animal? G.
Oh,
That's the only one.
oh, you silent nerd.
Oh, did I leave that out?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Stop. Go back. Erase that. Take it off the tape. Don't listen to me. I couldn't do. Okay, you got several answers. The answers are C, certain fats,
Got that one.
D, sciatic nerve, and G, blood.
Yes. Got all 3.
2 out of 3.
I got all 3.
You get 2 out of 3.
You mentioned something about that.
Yeah.
You can eat
Makes a
udder.
difference at the end, we worry about it, really, so what usually I say to people. Okay, since
The udder's
since
kosher?
grade is- I'm sorry?
Udder is kosher.
Udder is kosher. It's very hard to do it. The Shulchan Aruch says you have to clean it, you cut it open, you throw it against the wall to get all the milk out of it. And then you can, if you really want to eat it, go ahead.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you included all the ones that were right plus the udder, how many points is that?
You added the udder,
Yeah.
take off 0.1%.
Okay.
You don't want to eat the udder anyway, so how can I really hold that against you?
I've had tongue.
You gotta hold it against the wall to make sure the milk comes. Okay,
Tastes like beef. Whatever.
what?
I didn't know until someone told me.
What's that?
Tongue, beef tongue.
Oh, my mother-in-law,
so- I
blessed
thought it was
memory,
something.
loved pickled
Oh,
tongue.
it's like
Pickled tongue.
yummy.
You have to remember, people use if it was there, you tried to eat it. I mean, that's the reality of the ancient world. You didn't have, most people didn't have. Let's go out of the kosher realm for a moment. If you can eat it, and you can make you live from it, you ate it. And Jews, by taking some things and say you can't eat it, are removing from their normal diet things that could be used to maintain your life. Now, remember, God forbid, you're in a life or death situation, and then you know the story about the pig and the rabbi. At the beginning of the 20th century, there really was a belief that consuming pork could help cure tuberculosis. And people were told to eat pork. Story goes that the Jewish man goes to the doctor and he says, you've got tuberculosis, so you have to eat some pork. He says, I'm kosher. I'm never. You have to secure. So he goes to say, well, I've always, what am I supposed to do? So he goes to the shochet, the ritual slaughter. He says to the shochet, I know it sounds strange, but I have to eat the pig. Will you shecht it for me? Will you slaughter it for me? The shochet says, let me go ask the rabbi, the Rav. He goes to the Rav and he says to the Rav, this is the story. Can I shecht the pig? The rabbi says, yes. So he goes back, he shechts the pig, and then he looks at the knife, and there's a nick in it. Now, if there's a nick in a knife, after you find it after you've slaughtered the cow, the fear is you may have pulled and not done a kosher cut. So he goes back to the rabbi and he shows the knife to the rabbi. He says, Rabbi, is the knife kosher? And the rabbi says, for a pig, it's kosher. Okay, now you know more than you wanted to. Okay. 64. How long must we wait after drinking a glass of milk before we can eat any meat products? The real answer is B. 1 minute.
All right.
Rinse out your mouth. 1 minute's enough. Okay. If you ate hard cheese, something that might leave remnants, or cheese that can leave, greasy remnants in your mouth, then you've got to wait longer, and maybe have to chew something, bread, to get rid of that, brush your teeth, what have you. And if it's very hard cheese, you have to wait like you would with meat. Okay, but glass of milk, that's all we have. 65. What does parv mean? C. It's neither meat nor dairy. 66. What is the local kosher agency? The answer is A. COR. Core. 67. Which of the following are not symbols of kosher agencies? B. The letter K is just a letter of the alphabet. There's no protection, no assurance that means it's kosher.
I added one.
All the others are recognized kosher symbols. Well respected. 68. Is pig's milk kosher? No. B. Is catfish kosher? No. B. Is bison kosher?
Yes.
A. Yes. Make good steaks. So you won't find too many kosher bison steaks, but they do exist. It's a hard animal to deal with.
Big one, too.
Yeah. Okay. 71. Kosher slaughtering is called B, shchita. Halal is the a Muslim term, Arabic term. Koshering is meat is done by salting and soaking. So C is the best answer. 73. 1 milliliter of milk. I'm in Canada, so I use milliliters. Falls into my 200 milliliter pot of meat soup. Do I have to throw out the soup? Yes or no?
No,
No.
not 60 to 1.
That's more than 61. That's why I use the 1 in the 200. 74. On the first night of Hanukkah, the first candle is placed on which end of the candle holder? B's wrong. A, the right-hand side, far right. 75. On the last night of Hanukkah, you light which candle first? B, the one the furthest left.
What was, it was 74A?
Although I must admit, the Vilna Gaon says it the other way, but that's Vilna Gaon. Okay. We got 1, 2, okay.
76.
76. On Friday night, the Hanukkah candles are lit A before the Shabbat candles. The Hanukkah candle, 77. The Hanukkah candles should burn for at least 30 minutes after the stars appear.
What if you put like 30 to 45?
Well, the 30's there, it's okay.
Okay, so we're good.
I missed that.
I didn't take.
30 to 45 includes 30, so therefore it's correct.
You made it.
That's the Talmud goes, if you have 30, you know, if you have 45, certainly you have 30. but the minimum is important to know. So let us say you have just, you can measure out enough oil for all your nights of Hanukkah, but only if you make sure it only burns, enough oil to last a half an hour after the stars come out on Saturday night. You're okay. Right? You don't have to add extra oil and then run to the store in the middle of the night to find more oil, something like that. Okay. 78. I don't know why some of these are in italics. Oh, well. 78, the ark is E, Aron HaKodesh. 79, the cantor is D, Hazan. 80, eternal light is A, Ner Tamid. 81, a rabbi is F, Rav, that's Hebrew. Sidur is C, the prayer book. And 83, Machzor is B, High Holy Days prayer book. All right. I'm going to pronounce the Hebrew here. If what you wrote down you think is what it sounds like that I'm saying, I give you credit. Okay? Because I don't want to try and figure out how you were pronouncing it. Okay? Be honest with yourselves, and all right. So I'm going to turn my glasses up and see it. Sure, see.
Vote for this one.
Uh-huh.
I was like, the
Well,
little dot.
I
I had to really work.
I
on
had
that.
my cataracts removed. I made them big, as a little bit bigger. And next time, maybe it'll make it even bigger. Okay. 84, Ra.
Could it also be raw?
As long as the R and the A is there.
Okay.
If you're going to be a Raw, then you're going to Ashkenazis, and we'll worry about that later.
I did a budget.
And H is okay. RAH is fine.
Okay.
85, Ba, black sheep. Have you any? Okay. 86, Ath, more or less AF. 86, Af. Aleph, Pei, Sofit. 87, Boo. 88, I realize it's not so clear. I think it's supposed to be Re. If you have an R there, I'll accept whatever you put.
It's 2 dots.
It's 2 dots down.
Is it 2 dots?
Yeah.
Then it'll be Ru. As long as you got the R, I can't even tell. Next time I got to make a bigger print. I could have, and I know.
Yeah,
I apologize, and if you feel that it's so small you couldn't get it correct, I'll let you have the correct answer. I'm a tough grader. 89, cha. That's a ha, not a ha.
I got K.
KH, CH,
Ah,
KA.
mm,
Well, what are you gonna do if it's a dot in it?
it's a K.
A long comments.
A long time.
I'm with you on that one.
No, I'm not gonna let you get away with that one, because there's no dot
I
in it.
messed up.
The difference is with the dot, it's a k. Without a dot, it's a ch. That's an important distinction you have to learn. 90 is a. 91 is ra. 92 is ta. 93 is ta. 94 is ha. 95 is ya. 96 is ch. However you want to spell it. CH. As long as you don't put any spit on the paper. All right. A 97 by E. Is there an E on the end?
Nope, just by.
Just by. BYE?
That's what I put.
You put BYE like in bye-bye?
Yeah.
All right, I'll let you get with it. That's okay. 98 is Adonai.
Can you use Hashem also?
Hashem, if you put Hashem, I'll accept that graciously. 99 is Baruch. 100 is Atah. Oh, the vowel got left out in 101. Should be Baruch.
That's what I got.
I just put Baruch because.
If you have Baruch, it sounds something like Baruch. That's.
I remember from the prayer book.
It should be the vowels missing. My apologies. I didn't see how that happened. You see, to use the vowels, I have a different word processor. Then I do it on that one, and I switch it over to my Windows, and they get switched. 102 bara. 103 at. 104 haba. 105 bihar. 106 pari. 107 Eloheinu. 108 Hagafen. 109 Ha'olam. 110 Borei. And 111 Melech. Okay.
No 101.
101.
What's the
That's fine. That's fine, because I left out the kamats. Should be a kamats there.
The sound comments.
I'm sorry?
This
I
one.
sound comments make it longer in some places.
It does. Normally, kamats, if it's a regular kamats, it's a long vowel.
Yeah.
That's why the reish has a shva, what we call shva na, a sounded shva. So it's really ba rehu. Right?
9.
No marks.
No, well, that was which one did you want it to be?
I picked these two though, so it's.
This one?
Yeah, because
And
that's
this
the big
one?
one. Yeah, these two, B and D is what I chose.
Well, B is actually K,
Yeah.
but that's not a kosher symbol. The
That's
letter
right, That's
K,
not a kosher symbol, but I picked.
that's
this one.
correct. You get partial
What
credit.
number?
Okay. What was the?
Which number?
Of Castro. Oh, I thought it was the other way around. Are not.
Well, if I said
Two
not,
dots under the.
did I say not?
Each of the following are not symbols.
Right.
So that's not, but then I picked that.
Oh,
one
yeah,
too,
yeah,
so
yeah.
that's
Okay, all right.
See it.
K is the only one that's not.
Okay, so that's straight up.
Well, I wasn't
Yeah,
sure. I
so-
just, I recognized.
Or that's the local agency.
Well, it's kind of.
Well, the only
Means
ones they
king.
don't use that anymore, except on cans like Hunt's tomato and things like
We
that.
don't use it
We
anymore.
never see it.
A lot of the words I did recognize.
I don't know what you buy, so I can't answer
I
that.
got one of them wrong. That's because I just wasn't paying
We
attention.
see too.
K, OU, and core are two of the predominant. There's a cuff K, which is also found a lot. A cuff K.
I have a
Yeah.
card that I use
Yeah.
for the core thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes,
Thank you.
Core's good.
34, yeah. Just a second, let me go find it.
And those stuff. I should.
34. Yeah, what about it?
Wouldn't it be one if you're not including the one at bedtime
No, because say the Shema in the morning
and at night?
and at the evening service.
Oh, and that's so 3 times?
Three times. Many people say the Shema when they go to sleep at night. That's Kriyat Shema al Hamitah. Yeah. That's really, there's two ways of saying the same thing. Those two questions really are the same.
But then you're saying it 3 times.
There's one when you get up in the morning.
All right.
No?
I do.
All right, I'll let you get away with it because I'm not, but let's understand. The Shema is recited twice daily as part of the prayer service. It's recited in the morning as the Shacharit service, and is recited in the evening as part of the Mariv or the evening service. When people go to bed at night, as part of, there's a thing called the bedtime Shema, which has some other prayers that some people don't recite, some do recite. It's nice to recite it, but it doesn't contain the entire Shema.
What about the one on upon the rising? Is that considered part of the morning sheet? There's one that you say, or a prayer you say upon rising.
Well, there are prayers that you say upon rising, Modeh Ani, but the Shema is not part of that. There is a preliminary service in which we say the one line of the Shema, Shema Yisrael. According to the Vilna Gaon, you can only say the first two words.
Mhm.
And some have the V'ahavta paragraph, but they don't have the next two paragraphs,
Okay.
for
I
sure.
was just saying, just recite the verse, the first verse.
There's nothing wrong with saying it, but I'm just saying it's not part of the
Okay.
fixed liturgy. Any other questions? Anything you don't understand? Anything that I made as clear as mud for you? I'm afraid, sometimes I do that. Okay, so I think I'm here next week or we're not next week. I'm trying to remember when we're going to New York.
Maybe it's next week.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, good, next week.
Let me look at my calendar because I can't get anywhere without my calendar. Oh, yeah. My wife's busy making Hanukkah cookies and having all kinds of troubles with them. When we go to New York to visit the family, we have problems packing because between the clothes and the cookies, there's not much room for us. Yeah. Next week we meet here. The following week, we will be on Zoom. And those who can't make it, obviously the Zoom is for when you have no other choice. It's not the preferred way of having class. Okay, so make sure your name is on the answer sheet, and if you want to mark how many wrong you've got on there or how many right, whichever you want to do, but just let me know which one you're doing it. Passing is at least 60 or 70 or 80 or 90.
I missed 9.
Okay.
That's 101.5.
I got 101.
Thank you.
Might be a little bit, it checks me with the ones I got.
Okay.
I got it.
Makes sense. Oh, I
You have to add them.
I just put what I got out of.
That's
the
fine.
total.
That's fine. That's fine.
But add
What
them.
did you get?
I'm sorry.
I missed 9.
You can add up the correct answers or subtract the number of wrong from the total.
See that here?
Only half of our week.
Yeah.
I transpose.
Green minds think alike.
That's funny.
Dollars if.
Wait,
Okay.
is that really?
I'll take your word for it.
If you did the,
Whichever, if you made a mistake like that, that's fine.
Once.
Six.
Look, the reason for this is more for you than anything else. please understand, unless you didn't get anything right, if you got at least about half of it right, I'm happy. You should be getting all of them right, but that's, my lousy scoring on it. But for me, what's most important is for you to see where you are, what you're learning, how much you're grasping, so that when the time comes, you can feel that you can muddle your way through Jewish life, at least as a semi-knowledgeable Jew. Okay. Now, hopefully you won't make any mistakes when you answer the questions of rabbis in front of the Beit Din. So this is a good practice for that as well.
Long as that interview.
Usually they give about 20 minutes for it.
Families too.
The way we handle it, I'll be honest with you, the way we handle it, usually you slide in for about 20 minutes. It depends. If somebody comes in and they start rattling off everything from the A to Z, and boy, they're impressing the rabbis, they say, can you step outside for a minute? And then Rabbi A says, yeah, it's pretty good. B says, yeah, it's pretty good. C says, of course it's good. All right, come back in. We'll take you to the mikveh. If you say amongst answers, I'll give you a real one. You had a business meeting in Yellowknife, and you had to have dinner. What did you order from the menu? And if you said a steak, you're in trouble. If you said I had salad, or even if you said I had a piece of raw fish, or I said just a piece of fish that was cooked so that it was okay, that's fine. If you say I try to keep kosher except when I'm not home, that's not going to be acceptable. If you said Rosh Hashanah is Hanukkah and Hanukkah is Rosh Hashanah, okay, you got a little confused. All right? We're willing to, we acknowledge people are nervous, they make mistakes. And so a young woman who I grew very close with, she was in my class many, many years ago. And I'll give the long story. So Sophia, as she was known in those days, came to my synagogue, and I said, see that little blonde woman over there? That's my wife. You go sit with her. So and I would often send people, my poor wife had to deal with everybody to know where they all right. So she went there, and eventually she was at our home. And after she went to the mikveh, she essentially became a daughter in my household. She wanted an Orthodox conversion. She jumped through hoops. They made her do all kinds of crazy things. And believe me, this exam is nothing to what they did. 2-3 hour, real tough exam. Even then, they gave her a hard time. But thank God, she went through it all. She got a nice Jewish doctor in New York. She's got 3 wonderful Jewish children, and she's doing very well. But that's the route she took. Had some people who came in, and Nebuch, not everybody is a rocket scientist. Not everybody really can master everything, but they were sincere, and they were trying, and they're working hard at it. And so we felt that was appropriate. Okay. So a lot depends on your attitude, how much effort you're putting into it, whether you're doing what you can reasonably be expected to be able to accomplish. I know Hebrew is very difficult for people, but that's one part of the reason I added the Hebrew on here. But I also put Hebrew words that we've used, so it should have made it a little easier. But it's a mixture of things. The most important element is sincerity. If you really want to be Jewish, you want to lead a Jewish life, and the rabbis see that in you, at least the Batei Din that I sit on, that generally speaking will do the trick. If there's a problem, sometimes they say, okay, you may have to fix something, do something, come back next month. That's happened on a few occasions. Very few have been absolutely turned down, but you can be if those problems are there that aren't fixable. Okay? But otherwise, we really are looking for people who sincerely want to be part of the Jewish people. We want people who would say, Rabbi, if I were in southern Israel and Hamas came in and they said, okay, anybody here who's not Jewish, you can go leave the kibbutz. Goodbye. What's your choice going to be?
Stay in fact.
Well, that's, if you're saying, I'm staying.
It's harder to say that now. But
Well, I know it's hard to say that now. I mean, Rabbi Allen, bless him, likes to say,
it's
what
easy
if
now.
Canada all of a sudden became anti-Semitic and they said all the Jews have to move to Saskatoon? I think actually gives the whole Saskatchewan as a choice. All right.
It's easy
Would
to
you
say
stay in
that.
Toronto or would you go to Saskatchewan?
Cheap real estate.
I'm sorry?
Cheap real estate up there.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm not sure I want to live there, but
It's easy to say things now.
no, look,
when it's not happening.
I know what everything, look, we can only, in the end, there's only one judge. The one true judge knows. We're just human beings. We do our best. Sometimes we're right. Sometimes we're wrong. Sometimes we bring people into the Jewish fold who put born Jews to shame. And by the way, that's often the case. Somebody goes through this program, often will know far more than people that they're going to be sitting next to in the synagogue. And often will be doing far more than members of their spouse-to-be's family, who might even say, why do you do that? You don't have to do that. I don't do that. And you will say, but that's what I have to do. That's what we're looking for, more than anything else. I mean, you don't have to be Jewish to be able to quote the Talmud. One of the great scholars of Judaism was a Protestant minister. Very nice translation of the Mishnah. He wasn't Jewish. He knew all of that, but he was a nice man. I don't take anything away from him. But knowing and doing, the famous question now, which is greater, Talmud or Limud or Maseh? What is more important, studying or doing? So finally, the rabbi says studying because it leads to doing, which is obviously is a contradiction in itself because you can't really separate the two. But the doing is the goal. The goal is for you to lead as good a Jewish life as you can, to reach out to the divine, to the Kadosh Baruch Hu, to make your life with Judaism as a meaningful way of dealing with the world around you, hopefully to help make it a better world, help make you a better person, help society to be a better society, all of these good things, and sharing in the joys and the woes of the Jewish people. Okay? All right, so please make sure I have your answer sheets up here. And I'll let you go. No, it's not that early after all.
God forbid that Hamas
That's-
ever troubles any of us.
Yeah,
Sometimes
Understanding.
yeah. Well, and it worked the other way. There were a number of
Oh, no, I was going to, but then.
there was a nun. She converted to Christianity. She was a nun, and she was sent to the concentration camp. She died there.
don't make a difference.
The Nazis
They don't care.
didn't care what you were born as far as the Nazis were concerned.
Yeah. Well, that's why easily identifiable. I don't have to say what I am. You can see what I am. Just
In today's world, there's no way of saying
You gotta
it.
realize
Not
that
everything.